Altcoins are currently offering some of the best trade setups that I have seen for months in crypto, especially with Bitcoin now back above all-time highs and the altcoins lagging behind. Getting into some good trades right now offers you the opportunity to make some serious profits over the next few weeks as altcoins play catch up with Bitcoin. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the best altcoin setups that I personally have found, and I'm going to show you the strategy so that you can go and identify for yourself whether or not it's the best time to get into certain altcoins you've been hearing about, how to find your own trading setups, etc., so that you can continue to fish into the future. Without further ado, hit the like button. Let's go trade. Hey guys, and welcome to the School of Crypto. Unlike my main channel, the House of Crypto, over here we're much more geared towards day trading, as well as tutorial-based content on maximizing your gains in your crypto portfolio over the 6 to 8 months of crypto bull market that remains. So if you want to up your skills and knowledge in the crypto space, then make sure you're subscribed, notification bell turned on, so that you don't miss another video. Now guys, before we jump in and have a look at some of those perfect altcoin setups, let's just have a quick overview of what's going on in the markets. And this is an essential thing that you should be doing pretty much every morning that you're coming to check on your crypto charts. Don't just go to your portfolio and look at your coins, see if they're up or down, and decide whether it's a good day or a bad day in crypto. But really, you want to be looking and planning ahead so that nothing is there to shock you. Now, Bitcoin, as you can see, is currently sat at all-time highs, and this is very positive. Typically, we see Bitcoin rallying stronger first before we start to see the altcoins coming in behind them. And if you want to find out more about exactly why that is, and more of the economic breakdown, more of the technical kind of project deep dives, then make sure you subscribe to my other channel, the House of Crypto. Now then, can we expect to see a pullback or not over the period of time ahead? Well, obviously, every time we enter into a trade, there's always the chance the markets pull back ahead of us. We can analyze until we're blue in the face, but we won't always be 100% on the trades and things that we take. But right now, we can be fairly certain of where we're going based on a few things that I'm going to show you. First of all, Bitcoin has been heading higher, and it's now in what we call blue sky territory because there's no previous resistance areas for Bitcoin to be bouncing into, which does mean that there is a chance that we could just continue higher and higher for Bitcoin without any huge relief over the next week or so. So just to confirm why Bitcoin is heading higher, because obviously this is important because you can follow along with this, if we add to our indicators and search for M2 money shift for Bitcoin, which is the top one here, and this is over on tradingview.com. Okay, it's a free website. If you want to play around with the setup and whatever, go and find a tutorial on YouTube on how to change your TradingView chart. So you can change the colors, do whatever you want, okay? But just for me, I go for the white background, green and red candles. Now, putting on my money shift for Bitcoin, I'm going to put down 84, okay, 84-day delay. I need to be on a daily chart, and you can basically see that Bitcoin is almost perfectly following this trend. So almost to the day at the moment, we're seeing a lot of accuracy. Now, what we see happening over the next few days that's got me really excited is this, okay? This next big kind of move up for the M2 money supply, which takes Bitcoin and the total market cap of crypto back towards highs we were at in December. Now, I know Bitcoin is way above that right now, but a lot of the altcoin market's still very quiet, still very flat. So I'm still going to remain bullish and think that we have good trading opportunities running until around the 30th of May. There is a chance that we have a bit of cool down, sideways movement around that time. But how else can I be so bullish right now? Well, the fear and greed index is still relatively low. It's saying extreme greed, but extreme greed for me is when this is getting up into the 80s and 90s. We're still fairly cool on this. We can run stronger into this with this kind of level of greed here. Okay, so the other thing that's got me feeling pretty confident is the funding rate heat map, which you can find on coinglass.com. Just go to 1 year and push the color slider across like this. You can see is pretty green and blue. Now, what does this mean? Just so you understand, when the markets start to pump and people get greedy, everyone starts to enter into leverage trades. When everybody's in a leverage trade, the price goes up quickly, but that price is unstable because it's propped up by leverage. As soon as that gets a sell-off, lots of people will get liquidated. Okay, the exchanges don't want lots of people winning leverage trades, so now and then they'll move the candles around so that they don't get too many people making too much money. They want to liquidate people. Okay, if we know that, then we're looking to trade only when there's low funding rates in the place. Okay, greens, blues are good. We want to avoid it when it's oranges and yellows, like we saw back in December when we saw that big correction for Bitcoin and the altcoins. So hopefully that's making sense for you. You can see all these different coins here. So just as an example, fart coin right now, probably not coin you want to be day trading. so much. And another one down here, what's this, H bar, a few others. Just try and avoid any over leveraged trades that you have open. This is WorldCoin. Just try and avoid any leverage trades or opening leverage trades in and around these zones. Okay, so if you saw my last video, you're going to see a pattern that we talked about then, but you're going to see how perfectly it's lining up right now and how perfectly some coins are offering entries. So if you've seen this before, stick with me. Still very valuable, still very important. This isn't just for day trading. You can use this for your altcoin entries, etc. And ultimately use this as a rule book for when to find your entries. If you do this, there's a good chance that you actually make a lot of money in this bull market ahead. I promise you, okay? It's really quite simple if you avoid all the emotions and drama that's basically being pushed onto you every day. Okay, there's a reason that Bybit and Binance send you notifications telling you to rush and buy Bitcoin and whatever else. There's a reason that other influencers out there are making silly faces on thumbnails and trying to get you to trade all the time when they're not really sure what's going on. They're just feeding on your emotions. Okay, so we want to be emotionless and just follow a certain set of rules. Now, we're going to use Dogecoin for this example because it shows a very textbook example. It's a meme coin, but this same chart pattern appears for meme coins, DeFi coins, AI coins, you name it, right? Okay, so what we can see, this was when? April last year, 2024, we get a peak after a bullish phase, and then Dogecoin gets a nice rundown like this. It does this because smart money enters, you get VCs and everyone starting to pump money into the markets. It kind of tends to rally up, and then typically a lot of newbie investors suddenly rush in and they're like, wow, Doge is going up, and they start to buy up here. Eventually, these people down here sell off, and then these people who bought up here just get bored of being in the red, and eventually they start to sell as well, and selling pressure just lasts for a long period of time until we get down to here, okay? Then you can see it does the same again. It goes up, and then what does it do? It goes down in the same way, but this time much bigger. And the time that we're looking at right now, I think will be even bigger, okay? And we're seeing this very perfectly play out on Doge. Now, obviously, it's easy to look at this from the past and be like, well, obviously, we should have entered around here. That would have been the best time to get in. But were we to know, because maybe we didn't know about this pattern before, because we hadn't subscribed to the School of Crypto, well, what can we do about it? Here we are. So I'm going to take the arc by clicking on the paintbrush and clicking on the arc, and you can see that we have a nice pattern that appears here. Okay, so we have the little fall down and the kind of rounded base. Now, this is not always round. Okay, other charts can be kind of flat, they can have bits poking out, but you get the picture. What we are theoretically just seeing in this area is all of the people who wanted to sell here have kind of sold by this point. And then we start to get to a point where the number of sellers are getting less and less, and the number of buyers start to come back in, which means we get a nice rounded base. Now, this happens again, and you can see the same here, okay? Now, what I recommend doing is there's often, not always, but often a point like this where the price peaks up before it comes down. And we use this to draw the top of our cup, okay? So the top of our cup there. And there's a good reason for that, why we draw our top of our cup there. And it's because after we get the break, we typically come back to retest before we make the big move. Here you can see Doge has had another retest and is now starting to make that move. All we simply need to know, and this is the same, remember, if you want to suddenly enter into an altcoin, because today on a video you saw Coin Bureau talk about ICP and you're like, wow, ICP sounds amazing. Do the same thing, just put it on the chart, look at where it lines up, and if it doesn't line up in the right place, don't buy that altcoin, there's always another one. Now, here you are, okay? As you can see, we're going to number them. So this is the downtrend. We're going to call it 1, okay? And then you have the break of the downtrend, which is the break of the line pretty much. We're going to call that 2. And then you have the break of the cup with the retest. We're going to call that 3. And then you've got this like big old leg up. We're going to call that 4. Obviously, sometimes they go up to like 5s and beyond. Okay. And you can see this happens on various different timescales at different times, right? If we went back here, slightly less steep, but we get the same sort of thing happen. Okay. And we want to avoid buying into coins at the 4s and the 5s, because that's where we get screwed. Because look, if you bought into Doge up here at 5, you've been in a world of pain for a very long time. And that's mostly what people do, especially when they're new to crypto. Even if you're not new to crypto, the emotions are too much, okay? It's difficult, I get it, but just make this a rule. Say to yourself, I'm never going to buy a 4. I'm only ever going to buy a 2 and a 3, okay? why do we not want to buy a 1 maybe? Well, a 1, you do get coins that sort of start to do this, and eventually they just keep doing this, and eventually they never wake up. Okay? There's a risk of getting in there. Yes, you can kind of maybe get in, but it does take a bit more risk. The idea of getting in at a 2 gives you more confidence. A 3 is even better, especially for a day trade, because by that point, you've come back, you've retested, you've now turned that previous resistance into support before that entry. In fact, let's just label this. So on the left, where we can work out where Doge is. Doge 1, it's not at 2. It's broken out. It's come back to retest the cup, and now it's starting to move up. Okay, so I would maybe say that this point is like 3, and this is like a 3.2. Actually, what we'd like to see here that's actually probably even better than entering at 3 is that it's come back to retest, and instead of just dying and going back like some coins do, it's come back and it's held this and now started to move back up. So this shows you a very nice entry for Doge on a daily chart. Dogecoin right now isn't too bad. It hasn't broken back above these highs. If we were to have a stop loss somewhere under where it is right now, we'd be pretty good. Now, we did enter into a trade on this the other day, and you can see from here up to that previous swing high, 3.5 to 1 risk to reward. I can risk $100 to make $300, okay? Or I can risk $10 to make $30. I must have a stop loss here, because if I'm wrong, or the markets change, or some crap happens with tariffs or some other thing, I don't want to be wiped out, okay? I don't want to be sad and lose my money. Okay, this is not me telling you to go and bang all your money on Dogecoin. This is me going, you know what? You're going to trade whether I help you or not, so I'd rather you do it responsibly. Now, before we dive in and have a look at some of the other amazing setups, and we're just going to run through, like, as you can see on the right, I've got a bunch of coins here, and you can apply this chart pattern to almost every single one of these coins. And this is amazing, because let's say today you saw Dogecoin, everyone was like, oh wow, Dogecoin's the best, you'd never even heard of it before, and you turned on your TV or your trading view and it was up here. You'd be like, well, I'm not buying that. Why would I buy that? It's not up. You know, the higher it gets towards here, the less chance I've got of making any money, because these people down here are going to be starting to sell to me. This is a real game changer. If you can get rid of the emotion, remember, and apply a rule. Okay, so this is a reasonable setup. You could enter into trade on Doge, it would look good. But there's better ones, and I'm going to show them to you in just a moment. But before we do, let me just give you a little bit of a warning, shall we say. Now, I shared this on my Twitter page just a couple of days ago, in fact, yesterday, which is Peter_THOC, blue check mark. Go and give me a follow over there if you haven't already. I share a lot of details, information, things I'm doing all the time. Now, I shared this tweet. This wasn't from me. He entered into a trade on a coin called Cetus. Now, this is an exchange that's on Sui. Yesterday, Cetus, unfortunately, got hacked for like $200 million. So the price of Cetus dipped pretty hard. There was an announcement about what news, what happened. Who is going to give me my money back from this disaster? Please respond. I closed my ETH trades, my PopCat trades, because I was going to get liquidated. I don't trade every day, but yesterday was an amazing entry. Please respond, it's not fair. But actually, you know what's not fair? Going to a casino and trying to win money, which is what trading is, effectively, and then asking for your money back when you lose your money. You, as a grown man, woman, okay, have to take responsibility for your actions in this game, okay? I'm not going to come and pick up the pieces. No one else is going to come and pick up the pieces. You can't blame anyone. You have to be okay with your own choices, your own decisions. Crypto seems like a glorious place, and it is. There's huge opportunities, but if you take big risks, guess what? And you're going to find out the hard way that it's not all rainbows and butterflies, all right? There's a lot of money to be lost as well as money to be won. Okay, so make sure you're using stop losses. Make sure you're being very, very cautious. If you don't really understand how to place stop losses, etc., we will cover it in future videos, but also just go out there on YouTube. Start to educate yourself. There's so much content out there for Forex, for crypto, whatever. If you decide you want to become good at this, maybe worth putting some effort in. Okay, so not hating on this guy. It's quite common, okay, as the market starts to move up. More and more inexperienced people enter with the kind of hopes and dreams, and they end up making silly mistakes and then just looking for other people to point the finger at. Okay, where are we at? Back to the charts, but we'll turn off this Doge chart because we know what's happening now, right? We know our patterns. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to enter on a 4. Let's look at it. Now, there's a reason we see that kind of perfect pattern starting to play out, and it's because everything's kind of following Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, as you can see, does this, and then Bitcoin has its kind of rounded base. But as you know, Bitcoin kind of leads the run. And if Bitcoin is running strongly now, it means that a lot of other altcoins are still lagging. But altcoins right now are at different points. Some are still in 1, some are in 2, some are in 3, some are in 4. Okay, and our job, as I told you, is to find the ones in good zones. Now, Aptos, a coin that I told you about the other day that I was entering into a trade to, this is a trade still open. Okay, we've been in this trade a while. And why am I in this trade? Because the risk to reward on this is crazy. So the risk to reward I've got on this is a 7-to-1, which means I can risk $100 to try and make $700. If you're not all right with losing $100, risk $10 to try and make $70. You can't make $700 and risk $10. It doesn't work like that, okay? Risk versus reward is kind of like an unbreakable rule. If you want lower risk, then go lower leverage, etc. But you can't make as much. It's just the rule, okay? Now, Aptos, as you can see, is in probably around a 2-3. It's come back for a couple of retests. I wanted to show you this one to show you that it can come back for a couple of retests. There's no set formula, although Doge is a very perfect one. But ultimately, we're seeing the same thing. A nice rounded base. Buyers are starting to come back stronger against the sellers. And as you can see, eventually, and I think it's going to happen very damn soon, it's going to break from here and it will see probably quite a strong push up towards the upside. Okay, things looking good for Aptos. Cookie, and I'm just going to use this to show you kind of where we can anticipate things going next. This is not a good entry, by the way. Okay, this is not a good entry. If you got into Cookie, fantastic, good work. And yeah, you could say that this is all the downtrend, but you get the picture, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. All we're seeing is the downtrend. We see the nice rounded base. We have the top of our cup. Remember, from that point of resistance, it comes back and retests it twice. 2 times you could have had in, okay? And eventually, whether it's now, whether it's last week, whenever, it does this. And when it does this, we suddenly make a lot of money. That's what we're looking for. This is what the entry is. This was the 2nd of May. It's taken 21 days of messing around here to finally break. But if we have a nice, healthy stop loss somewhere down underneath here, we're going to be safe. Our trade's going to run for a while, and we can just set it and forget it. We shouldn't be using large amounts of money. We still should be able to sleep at night. We shouldn't be panicking. You get the picture, okay? Now, MOG is very, very close to the perfect entry, but I would say we've missed it maybe by a few days. Down here, I think MOG was looking very, very nice, okay? Again, we had our break. This is where we had our resistance, which is flipped into support. I don't know if I said that. So resistance is where you come up and you can't go through. That becomes future support. Often, past resistance becomes future support, okay? You can see it happens in various places. We have a nice pullback into this zone, gives us the perfect entry. MOG is kind of just a little bit past that. And the reason MOG is a little bit past that, if I wanted to enter a trade now, my stop loss would have to go all the way down here. So to be able to get a good 3-to-1 or whatever profit, I have to be kind of trying to aim quite high up, okay? Which would bring me to here. It's not a terrible trade. It's just not as good as it could be. Because look, if I had an entry down here, my stop loss could be here, and then I could be running for like a 9 or 10-to-1 risk to reward, okay? Or I could just shoot for less and go for like a $500 win against my $100 loss, etc. But we want to get nice and close to the support zone as possible. And some charts are a little bit messier, but they have a similar theory. This is Solana, as you can see here. Solana has maybe a bit more of an aggressive buying up going on. You can see we have our kind of chart pattern here. Yes, is it round? Not massively round, but you could see it comes back, it retests. We've missed Solana. Okay, if we're looking for a trade, Solana's gone for now. Okay, you could go to a smaller time frame if you wish, and then you could start to look at this happening on smaller time frames. You see, basically has its pullback on a 4-hour. It comes and it prints its pattern here. It breaks, it suddenly messes around here, retests this zone, and then it pushes on. You could have had a smaller time frame trade. This happens on multiple time frames over periods of time. I just like to trade on daily charts. It takes longer to play out. It's less volatile. I can sleep at night. It's much more calm that way. Let's just come down to the one that I found that I think is probably the better setup. And this is Giga, okay? A meme coin. Now, just because it's a meme coin, don't necessarily write it off. Just because it's not XRP or Cardano or whatever you think it is. Effectively, what's going to happen is this. Bitcoin's been rallying up strongly. Very soon, to get everyone flooding back into the market, market makers, smart money, banks, institutions, big funds, whatever, will start to pump money into the markets to try and get retail investors like us to start aping in after them. Nasty. It's a bit mean, but it happens. That's why we saw Sui going up like crazy. Okay, we've seen Solana been pumping. We've seen lots of other institutions, etc. pumping. We are often used to sell to, but right now I'm telling you how to buy when the smart money is buying. Now, big exchanges like Binance, OKX, Coinbase, MEXC, etc. will be using market makers to pump the money into these coins. So if you're using coins on those major exchanges that lots of retail investors use, there's a good chance you'll see some pretty aggressive pumps while the altcoin season kicks off and the market kind of starts to become a bit more greedy. So Giga right now, a coin that is available on Binance and others, it's just a meme coin, is actually looking at a really nice entry. You can see, came all the way down, bounced around and around the zone. It put in resistance that's now come support. Okay, we're pretty close to it. Other coins we've been looking at today are maybe up in this zone. I think this is a good entry from my perspective. So what I'll do is I'll just put the trade in here, okay, using the trade tool. And what we can see is a little stop loss can go under here because obviously it could be wrong. Could take our loss if we need to. And there's nothing wrong with taking losses. If you try and avoid taking losses, guess what? You get absolutely wrecked because you will try and risk too much. You'll try and move stop losses, etc. So only risk what you can afford to lose and be happy, not happy about losing, but be okay with losing. Okay. And you can see this gives me a 6-1, basically, without getting to that high. Now, once I've marked this off here, I'm going to go and write down on a piece of paper. I'm not actually going to do that, but, you know, you get the picture. My take profit, my stop loss, and the entry point, because obviously you might be watching this video in 3 days and maybe Giga's up here by then. So make sure you go and do this for yourself. Look at the charts. Don't just go and ape into whatever I talk about. Please, I am begging you to start thinking for yourself. It's the only way you're going to win in these markets. I will do my best to give you the tools and help you to get there, but just do it yourself, okay? Should be quite straightforward and easy, right? Okay, so Giga, taking what details I put here, I go across to my trading exchange. Now, I recommend using WEEX or Bitunix because they do not require a KYC, which means you don't have to register your personal details to use them. You can access them from pretty much every country around the world. They also come with huge bonuses, which are linked down below in the description. I've been working with these exchanges for a very long time, probably longer than most people, which means I get the very best exchange deals. If you already got an account, you can go and set up a new account with a different email address and qualify for those bonuses. And the majority of the time, you can find most of the coins that I talk about here. Giga, I believe, is on both, but you'll have to go and check. Anyway, once you've done this, you need to then go across to the exchange to place your trade. Now, I made a Bitunix tutorial, which I'll link to the end of this video, showing you how to go and place a trade on a video. If not, go and watch other tutorials out there showing you how to do these different trades. Should be fairly straightforward, okay? In the next video, I will be placing a trade or two onto the exchanges. But today, I just really wanted to focus on this chart pattern because it's such an easy one. Right now, the market's a really nice for it. Look, every coin, okay? Not just meme coins. This is WorldCoin. You can see WorldCoin messed around down here, hasn't come back to retest. It's not a good entry. I do think that there's a potential it comes back to retest. If it comes back to retest, we get back in. I mean, WorldCoin is a coin that we've already entered into on this channel. If you've been subscribed, then you're already in profits. Congratulations. Okay, cool. I hope that was useful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know down below how things are going with this, whether you want to know certain things. And just do me a favor, just leave a comment. Even if you just write full stop and enter, it really, really helps me out. Helps me grow this channel. Helps me bring you more content like this. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you soon in another one. Bye-bye.